and every man will be judged accordingly. For when the great widow comes, all men shall come to bear the weight of his sins. Who is the Divine Mother Kali? A great Hindu goddess worshipped by millions around the world. If you can see clearly, the tattoo on my face I got as a symbol of the Divine Mother Kali. You see, I didn't know it at the time, but around the age of 12 or 13, I had a dream in which Kali came to me, and the dream went something like, I was walking on the edge along this great cavern, and underneath, below was this, back around this time I was playing Minecraft, and so what was below was this kind of nether world. There was a great chasm, miles and miles long. And within this chasm, there was this great shape-shifting demon. Huge. And every second, even less, it would shape-shift into a completely new and unique, but equally as vivid and complex demonic form. And so I was walking along a ledge alongside the cavern, and I had a video camera in my hand, and as I was walking, a giant spider came down from the ceiling, and the spider approached me, and she asked me a riddle, a question, and that question was, does the life of a thing matter if its only purpose is to be consumed by another? Something along those lines. And I stayed silent. I didn't answer the question. And then the spider got angry at me and started chasing me. And then I escaped, and then the dream was over. But from that point on, I had many, many dreams throughout the years with the symbol of the widow spider. And so I didn't know it at the time, but later on, many years later, I was listening to a Jordan Peterson lecture in which he was talking about Kali. And he just so happened to mention the idea that she had kind of like these many arms, and that she was almost spider-like. And immediately I had kind of an intuitive understanding that she is what I experienced. The symbol of Kali is who I met in my dream, and who I continued to meet in my dreams. And then as I became more intelligent, more educated, I could understand the patterns, the mythology, the story that was unfolding. Why was she appearing in my dreams? And so I think many men would greatly benefit from understanding what she represents. And some aspects of her are quite obvious. She is the destructive force of Mother Nature in her demonic form. And she is also the force of nourishment and nurturing. She is also what gives life, gives birth. But the tattoo that I got on my face is more of a symbol of war rather than a symbol of something more positive, let's say. Because every man struggles at some point or another in their life in relating to the feminine. And so the purpose of Kali in this form, as I've come to understand it, her job is to judge the character of men, to judge them based off their relationship to the feminine. And so as a man, if she judges you and you are found wanting, what this will manifest in your life as the annihilation and destruction of your genes. Because that is the job of the destructive force of nature. It is to ensure that no man who has weak genetic potential is allowed to perpetuate into the future. And so you see this all the time, at least sometimes. Men who kill themselves because their wives cheated on them or their girlfriends left them. There was that case where the guy shot up a bunch of people because no women really liked him. But he had such a sense of superiority and pride that he couldn't tolerate that fact. Men who stay at home and never leave, in a way they are stuck in Kali's web. They never grow up to be men. And so they are devoured by their mothers. People like to believe that there is a war between men and women, but this is not the case. Because women are so in tune with their bodies, they're in touch with their feminine instincts. Therefore, they are at one with their bodies and their feminine instincts. So there is no men and women. There are men, and then there is the force of Mother Nature. And at one level, perhaps we should have some empathy for these men who get crushed and annihilated by the destructive force of nature. But at the same time, we have to understand that Mother Nature is just doing her job in eradicating the genes that could potentially create great harm and destruction in the future. Because, well, in today's age, people who would have been killed right away tens of thousands of years ago can now survive and perpetuate long into the future because of the society we live in. And so, if weak genetic potential is allowed to perpetuate into the future, then 3, 5, 10 generations down the line, one of these offsprings may find themselves in a high place of power over others. And there is nothing worse than a weak, tyrannical king. Just look at Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Now, before you call me a Nazi and accuse me of wanting to create a master race and eliminate the weak genes of the human population through eugenics, I am merely trying to express and understand the way that Mother Nature works, the evolutionary process in which only the most fit genes for the environment survive. To understand why men kill themselves over women, and it is always because they have a weak relationship to the feminine. And so this is the war that men are in. Men are not in a war with women, they are at war with themselves. The clock is ticking, and unless they develop a proper relationship to the feminine, they will be destroyed. Now, they can hold off this process by asking for divine guidance. But if this relationship is not addressed, then it will certainly mean the demise of any man, in which Kali will look upon you and judge you, and if you are found wanting, if the feminine does not like you, if the feminine is repulsed by you, then you will be eaten, and your head will get cut off. But if the feminine likes you, they enjoy being around you because you have a strong masculine presence, then Kali will have great mercy upon you, and rather than facing her ugly and demonic form, the form that is the destructive force of nature, you will instead find her in her beautiful divine goddess form, in which she will provide to you nourishment, gifts, and blessings. But what matters is, as men, we must develop our own character, to know ourselves and to know our masculinity, so that we may understand the feminine, or at the very least to develop a healthy and prosperous relationship to the feminine.